Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades and welcome back. And what are we getting back into? We are getting back into Love is Blind season 6 and we are now on episode 9. Episode 9 was episode 9ing, was it not? It really was. It really was. Oh my god, I have a lot to talk about on this episode. Let's just say that I was pissed on the behalf of, I think, Laura and AD, because yeah. But before we get into it, as I always say, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button so when you know I'm on and doing videos. And let's talk about this episode, shall we? Well, we see Jimmy's back in the home with Chelsea now, and he's giving her the little kiss on the cheek, and they're sitting in the bedroom, and now they're going to talk about what kind of happened and the situation there. So Chelsea again starts the conversation and says that it wasn't cool that he left the way that he left, and he said he only left because she said that she would leave. Is it 10? Like, seriously, is it 10? That was pathetic. Even I, watching this motherfucking show, yeah, when Chelsea said, oh, I might as well go to my flat and stay there for the night, knew Chelsea was not going to move her ass nowhere. Chelsea was going to stay right where she there. Yeah. Jimmy just wanted to get out of that scenario because Jimmy was the one that used the wrong words with Chelsea in regards to calling her clingy. But he is the pot calling the kettle black, especially after we see what his friend said about him to Chelsea when she met them. So is it a case of, yeah, I want you to be clingy, yeah, but he don't want Chelsea to be clingy to him? Makes no sense. Makes no sense to me. So Chelsea's sitting there trying to figure out why he called her clingy, but he was not giving her nothing. He was giving her nothing but missed messages. He was not, again, it's dodged the bullet with this man because he does not answer a question with a straight answer at all. Not at all. So basically he turned around and says that he felt every time she asked, is everything okay, questioned it, he felt that that was smothering to him. I'm like, has your parents never asked you if you're okay? Your friends never asked you if you're okay? But Chelsea asking you if you're okay, it's smothering. This is why I'm saying these two should not be together. These two ain't gonna work. I don't see it working. I really don't see it working. So basically they're saying that he needs to work on his delivery. He needs to work on more than his delivery. He seriously needs to work on more than his delivery. That's all I'm saying in that sense. He accepts that he was disrespectful, and he said that he won't judge her when she is emotional, in terms of when she gets emotional over what he says. I just can't. I just can't with this man, because he caused the situation by calling this girl clingy, but this man cannot accept responsibility for the shit that he says in how she responds to him and his behaviour. But it's got to be down to Chelsea. Oh, she's too over-emotional. And this is why I said this woman needs to seriously listen to the words that are coming out of this man's mouth. Like, seriously, listen to those words before you respond to them, because he's literally telling you what he thinks as he's saying it. I just can't. I just can't with Jimmy. I really can't. So then that conversation carries on, and Chelsea's there telling him about, like, you know, please don't leave her again, and because it stressed her out basically when he left. And I'm just saying, she is a little bit, on the flip side, she's a little bit needy. She's a little bit needy and a little bit whiny, and I think if I was kind of in that position, I'm not giving Jimmy no blighs, no way whatsoever, because that man don't know how to communicate in the slightest. yeah. But if I was in that position, it will kind of get on my nerves a little bit. It seriously would. But I don't think I'd act in the way that Jimmy's been acting, to be fair. So Jimmy then decides that he is going to call her out on a comment that she made, that she will not be initiating sex with him anymore. And that was because, Jimmy, my dear, you turned around and said to her that you didn't even really want the sex anyway. You made a complaint, so why would she then go and turn face and initiate it on you when you said something like that? And I'm just like, well, my guy, it's up to her whether she wants to initiate it or not. She ain't gonna drop to this man's beat at the end of the day. So Jimmy is there telling her about he wants her to continue to initiate the sex between them. Can't with this couple. Like, seriously, I just can't with this couple. What would it mean, to this whole franchise if you get to the altar and you get a couple that all the couples don't marry each other? What happens then? Like, seriously, what happens then? Because if any of these couples say yes to each other, I just think they're living in Delulu land if they think that shit is going to work. Like, seriously, because I don't know what it is that they're seeing at that point in time if they say yes to this person. Like, I really don't. I'm flabbergasted. So then you see Laura and Jeremy get ready because Jeremy is going to meet the maternals today, basically. So Laura is explaining a little bit more about her parents' marriage and how she doesn't want a marriage like her parents at the end of the day. Like, okay, they're together, but they're not necessarily, like, very involved with each other in that sense. So at this point, because bearing in mind, I didn't know that Jeremy was the one that was sharing the DM that he got from Sarah Ann with Laura. I didn't know at that point. So at that point, I was kind of questioning, so is Jeremy going to talk about the Sarah Ann text or not at the end of the day? So Laura then turns around and says to Jeremy, like, the worst thing for her parents is to feel uncomfortable, or for Jeremy to make them feel uncomfortable in that sense, and him impacting on it and making it worse. So I'm just like, he's going to do what he's going to do. Jeremy's going to do what he's going to do. At the end of the day, you've both entered this process in order to find someone that you actually want to get on board with and actually want to marry at the end of it. I understand Laura was trying to open up the lines of communication in regards to how to deal with her parents, but sometimes that kind of talk doesn't work. It just puts you more or less on tenterhooks. So basically Laura is trying to say that she is a big personality, and basically her parents have kind of saw her wear all the hats in her relationships. And that was Laura's choice to do. At that point in time, that was Laura's choice to do. Jeremy did kind of look pissed with the way that the chat was going in regards to Laura and her parents and him trying to, basically Laura was prepping him. That's what she was doing. She was prepping him in terms of meeting his parents and what he can and can't do. So Jeremy did kind of look pissed about it. So then the family comes around and I'm like, actually, they're kind of okay. The daddy's a little bit quiet. The mum's quite talkative and can be a little bit funny. The sister-in-law, I liked her. I did like her. And her husband, which is, I think, Laura's brother, was quite quiet at the end of the day. So basically, Laura and Jeremy actually speak quite candidly with the family members. And Mum makes a joke and asks, like, do you think he got it wrong with this one to Jeremy? You can definitely tell that Laura did not like that joke because she started to move away from the conversation. Jeremy turns around and says, well, not in the pause, but when we got here might be a different story, but he had to literally spell out that he was joking because Laura did go silent, as I already said, and started to move herself away from the conversation. So Laura, in her infinite wisdom, brings up the little love triangle between Jeremy and Sarah Ann and herself. Then she puts Jeremy on blast to her parents about the fact that Sarah Ann sent him a DM. And I'm like, why would you do that though? No, but honestly, why would you do that? Is it because he was getting on a little bit too much with your parents and you literally wanted to shift the limelight away from this man? But then I would say on the flip side that sometimes talking about certain things that are bothering you in mixed company, especially when it comes to your family, might give you a little bit of insight in terms of how you could fix that scenario going forward. But yeah, the way Laura just threw it out there was a doozy. It was an absolute doozy, and Jeremy even had to say, "What are we going to talk about this now?" Yes, my guy, you are going to talk about it now, because Laura literally just opened that and threw in a live grenade into that conversation. So you are going to talk about it now. He turned around and he did explain to them that he thought he was doing a good thing. Yeah, he thought he was doing a good thing by going up and telling Laura, guess what? Sarah Ann's DM'd me, this is what she said. He thought he was doing a good thing by saying, look at this, but I haven't responded. So he was looking for a tap on the back. But the one thing that Jeremy did wrong, as it was pointed out to him, was he hearted that comment rather than the sister saying, well, you could have thumbs up. But sometimes some people are not always technically savvy like that when it comes to communication around Instagram and stuff like that. So Jeremy, in his mind, thinking him hearting the comment, has basically told Sarah Ann, yes, I've looked at your message, I've considered it, I don't need to respond, basically. And that's how he's left it. Also, we thought. That's all I'm going to say. And then throughout the whole conversations with the parents, you see Laura getting on about this man's Hawaiian shirts. And I'm like, do you know what? There's so many things bigger in this world to worry about than what this man is wearing on his back at the end of the day. If it makes him happy, as her sister-in-law said, just leave him to it. Leave him the fuck to it at the end of the day. So then it moves on to Amy and Johnny, and they're starting to learn bachata. So they're at dance classes, and again, nothing yet has come up to really challenge them. So then we move to ID and Clay, and ID is meeting Clay's mother and little sister. Now, let me tell you when this whole conversation made my ass itch. Like, seriously made my ass itch. Because I'm like, what the fuck is Clay doing? Like, seriously, what the fuck is Clay doing? So what's happening is conversation turns to Clay. He is an entrepreneur. ID hasn't started her work yet, but she will do. She is a business owner and she is a manager of a club. So she does what she needs to do in regards to that, but she hasn't started work per se just yet. So ID brought up the fact that Clay, in his time as he's working, does not come home. This man does not come home because he uses the excuse as is if the next place he's got to go to either the next day or the next couple of days, yeah, is close enough, he will stay out where he is and then go and travel to that place. My thing is if this man really wanted to make this relationship work, come hell or high water, he would find ways in which to get back to ID and the distance would not bother him. Now, ID is saying it's not the fact of his work schedule that is bothering her. It's just on the days that he ain't doing anything, that man can come home. So what the fuck is he doing in the times that he's not doing anything, that he can't take his ass home? That's what the situation was. Now, my fucked up thinking in terms of Clay was he turned around and tried to use at first the fact that when she starts working, because of her job title, she will probably be in all day but then go out about 3 something in the morning and do her work and so then won't come back home till later. Key point is ID will reach her ass back home and she will be in the house all fucking day at the end of the day. That's what I'm saying. So then in the next breath, then he tried to turn around and say, well, she doesn't understand because she ain't working. Say what? Say what? So then Clay's mother pipes in and says, at first she gives a good speech about the whole, well, you know, it's about giving each other grace. But then she turns around and says to ID, but you have to understand how his entrepreneurship works, how his schedule works. And again, ID is saying, his schedule is not the issue. It's the fact that the man don't come home. The man don't come home. So what is she sitting there in that house looking pretty, trying to fix up a home for someone that ain't even there? This is at this point, ID should have turned around and said, you know what? I don't think we're going to go any further with this relationship. It's at that point this girl should have said that, but she did not. No, she did not. She still continued to sit there and argue the toss with this man who automatically believed, yeah, that he was in the right, that because of the pressures and the amount of work he has to do for being an entrepreneur is the reason why it's keeping him away from home. No, because you would find a way back home, my love. You would find a way back home. If you really wanted to be with AD and you wanted this shit to work, you would find a way back home. That's why I'm like, yeah, nah, no. This man's playing. He's playing. He's seriously playing, and all he wanted really was his mum and his sister to have his back. So then when the conversation started to play out in regards to the work-life balance type of situation, yeah, Clay did not look convinced by that conversation as it ended. Not convinced in the slightest, because this man wants to do what he wants to do and not be questioned on why he's doing it. That's how I'm seeing it. That is how I'm seeing it. And I think he's trying to emulate on how his father used to behave. That's how I'm seeing it. Like, seriously. This man's showing red flags all over the place, and AD's living true to her word that she doesn't see red flags. It's not that she ignores them, she just don't see them. So then we see Chelsea and Jimmy meet Jimmy's two best friends and their girls. Okay, so Barbara and Maddie are their names. So Chelsea did tell them that she used to be married, which they were like, okay, and they accepted that when she spoke to them. And she's saying that she's now changed from how when she used to marry. She's more matured since being divorced. And Chelsea talks about how secure she is now in who she is. But I think there's instances where Chelsea is not very secure in who she is, especially when she's trying to maneuver this relationship with Jimmy. Jimmy does not make her secure. Like, seriously, he does not make her secure in terms of the terminology that's said. And this is where I'm saying the conversation where his girls were saying, well, if you ain't being clingy, this, that, and the other, he would turn around and say, well, what the hell's happening? He wants a clingy girl. So I'm just like, really? Because that's how it's computing to us people watching this shit at the end of the day. Sounds like Jimmy is getting heavily peed off with the behaviours that Chelsea is showing, and he don't want it. He don't want it. I think it's Chelsea who talks about the fact that she had been cheated on before. You know, girls who are friends, like who had girls as their friends, like cheated on before. But she said that she essentially wouldn't put that on him. And they kind of said, well, nah, that is neither here nor there with them at all. They don't have no sexual interest in Jimmy whatsoever, because they've been friends for a mighty long time. And I noted that Jimmy, throughout this whole conversation, was really quite quiet, to be fair. Like really quite quiet. It was Chelsea that was answering all the questions. He just left it as it was and allowed them to continue what they were doing. So you see, Amy meets Johnny's family, and couldn't have gone any better for them at the end of the day. Couldn't have gone any better for them. I think the only sticking point that they're going to have is when it comes to this birth control stuff and babies, and when it comes to Amy's family. I think that's where the sticking point is going to come to, and that's where the challenges is that they may have. So we then move to Jeremy and Laura, and I swear to God, I thought I was in hell the way it just frosted over in that place. Like, the whole atmosphere was cold, like absolutely cold. You see Jeremy sitting there on a chair, and this is what I mean about this man. He does some fuck shit, yeah. I think it's a case of him trying to get his story right in his mind. He doesn't say nothing, but then it's Laura that has to broach the subject when it shouldn't be Laura that broached the subject. So Laura is pissed that this man fucked off out and didn't come back until 5:30 in the morning. So she was asking him, where have you been for till 5:30 in the morning? So he turns around and starts painting this story. Now, you know, once someone starts painting a story, that some fuck shit is going to come out, because they're trying to soften the blow with the story that they're painting. So Jeremy was saying that he went to go to one club, his friends changed the venue, they went to go to another club, he was on his way there, then his friend told him and said that Sarah Ann is in the near vicinity. So he decided that he was not going to head back home once he realized that information. He was not going to let no one dictate his movements, and he was going to continue to the club. But he thought all was okay because he shared his location with Laura. Laura was like, Laura was basically right in the fact that that's not healthy. Why would you share your location with me? Because I am not checking up on you. I am asking you where the fuck you was till 5:30. Bearing in mind he shared his location to her, yeah. He then tried saying that he stayed back and spoke to Sarah Ann. You mean after the DM? After the DM, Sarah Ann sent to you, basically telling you in no uncertain terms that she was interested in your clots, yeah. And if you'd have made the wrong choice, but you stayed back in the parking lot, no less, to talk to this gal. Laura called him out on his bullshit and basically said, you did not stay in that parking lot. You know you didn't stay in that parking lot. Jeremy's first response was, I don't want to talk about this right now. Do we have to talk about where I was right now? No, Jeremy, yes, you do. You do. Because Laura is the person that you chose to get engaged to. Laura is the person that you potentially was wanting to marry over Sarah Ann. But you've done some fuck shit right now, so you need to explain yourself. So Laura tells him that he was not in that motherfucking parking lot. He'd gone to Sarah Ann's place because he'd gone to that area. Jeremy tried to deny it. My guy, you showed her, you shared your location. You did not think to switch that shit off before you decided to go on the move or whatever the fuck it is you decided to do. She knows you did not stay in that bar parking lot. She knows where you moved to because she saw your location. I'm just like, Jeremy looked guilty as motherfucking hell. He couldn't even give Laura no eye contact. And this is the thing about respect. He couldn't even respect Laura enough to tell her the truth. He could not respect Laura enough to tell her the truth in the fuck shit that he got up with Sarah Ann and how that may seem to Laura. Why did you not take your ass home and say, well, it would be worth me not starting any bother by going to the same bar that Sarah Ann is in and go home to Laura because that's the person I chose? You decided to reassure this woman by sending your location, which was a piss poor move. As Laura said, you didn't even text her, you didn't even call her, not her fucking being. Not her fucking being. But she was awake enough to know you didn't get back into that yard until 5:30 in the morning. And then he sits there like Laura does not have the right to question him on his bullshit. Yeah, Jeremy's a dickhead. Jeremy's a dickhead. So Laura got up from that conversation and basically said, you know what, she wants out, and she walked off and left that dickhead sitting there on the fucking chair like he ain't done nothing wrong. That man went straight back on his phone. I'm flabbergasted by these people, by the audacity of these people. Like, seriously flabbergasted by them. Anywho, that's where the episode ended, and I'll be back very soon with the next episodes. As I always say, please, my renegades, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button so you know I'm on and doing videos. And I'll speak to you all again soon. Peace out.